I've been working with a cool death metal band out of Chicago called Necronomicon Ex Mortis, and they just released their first single, Celestial Tomb. And I believe the EP actually comes out later this month. If you're fans of death metal, I really hope you go check this one out. We started this all the way back in September of 2021 with 7 straight and crazy days of drums with drummer Joey Ferretti. And Joey just killed it entirely. And when we tracked, I actually shot an entire walkthrough of the setup. Without naming any names and getting anybody in trouble, throwing someone under the bus, that video did not get imported into the computer, so I don't actually have that. But I do have a few clips that we recorded of Joey playing, and it's so good that I want to show that to you and give you a walkthrough just of the drum sounds from those tracking sessions. Michael Balla wanted more of an old school kind of natural approach to this EP, something that sounded like they were all in a room playing together as opposed to a more, heavily sample replaced, heavy production kind of thing. And I thought that was cool, and when you have players as good as these guys, that's fairly easy to do. But since Joey lives on the East Coast, he didn't actually bring any of his drums out with him, just some cymbals, his double pedal, stick bag, so we mainly used drums that I had here at the studio. And for this vibe we were going for, we used all Ludwig toms with coated Emperors. Didn't go with the clear heads for the attack, went with coated heads. It was my Pearl kick drum, and we used a couple different snares because of those 16 songs, some were for the EP, some were from an upcoming album, so there was, some different things that we were trying to track, and we just wanted to give those songs a little bit different feel. We even swapped out some cymbals on the different songs that were going for different parts of the project. Matter of fact, here's a little clip of me talking about that.
Hey, Charlie, explain what we're doing right now.
Right now we are swapping out snares, because we did the EP, all the songs of the EP with an 8x14 Black Beauty. And to get some variants on these other songs, we're actually going to go through a few different snare drums and see if we can find something we like. Because the snare alone can actually change how the whole kit sounds. And then Joey, we swapped out some cymbals too, just to get a little variance. Toms will stay the same, kicks stay the same. But these two elements, the cymbals and the snares, should actually make the whole kit sound and feel quite different. So we'll see what we like. So I want to start off by just playing a clip of Joey playing because it's awesome. So let's just take a listen to that. He sounds great. I'm gonna start with the overheads because I went with a little bit different mic choice than I might for a project like this. I went with the Roswell Mini K87, something a bit more natural, a little smoother, because I wanted to try to get, a glued together picture of the kit from the cymbals. So it sounded kind of like one giant overhead projection as opposed to very transient heavy. And then all the close mics would be the transients that cut through. So here's just the overhead sound. And I really like how they captured the kit. It feels like a cohesive picture of the kit with nothing jumping out too much. Cymbals sound good, hi-hat sounds good, snare is consistent, toms are nice. I dug it. The kick drum, inside kick, I believe was an Audio-Technica ATM 250, and I think I did a little processing from the SSL compressor and the A-Range EQ. So here's the inside kick. Good low end, it's tight, it's fast enough to get out of the way of some of the fast double bass. Outside kick, I think, was a Roswell Pro Audio Mini K47KD. And I think this did a nice job of actually thickening up the kick drum. And adding a little bit more meat to it. And that's our kick sound. Snare. I think this was a 6.5 on this particular recording, because this was towards the end of the week. I want to say this was a 6.5 by 14 Ludwig raw copper with a little bit of tape on it. It's got some nice pop, a little bit of ring in there that's nice. The toms. Like I said, coated heads this time around. Let me go to the end of this where there's some tom fills. Heil PR30s on the 2 racks in the first floor, and the second floor tom, the 16, was a Mike Parts S25, I believe. We've got some tail on it. There's a little bit of ring. There's some of the growl in there. Again, we were going for a different kind of vibe than that really tight, dry tom sound. And these did a great job in the mix with everything too. Now for rooms, I did 2 sets of rooms for this. They didn't always get used on the EP, but I had them available to me when and if I could use them. And the first set, I think these were my Roswell Pro Audio Delphos 1 in the corners. And I actually think I had them facing a little different because I wanted to try to have the rooms kind of do this a little bit and be a bit more chaotic. Wasn't really concerned with perfect stereo image of the room. I wanted chaos. So when I did use them, it added something to the sound. So here's just those rooms. No compression or EQ. So here's the drum sound with no rooms. And with those rooms. And I could kind of ride those around drum fills, or if there's any spots that had enough space for me to really pump them up. And since there's no compression on these, I wasn't worried about cymbals getting too gnarly. The other set, however, speaking of compression, does have a little bit of compression. I think these were my Audio-Technica 4080 ribbons going through the overstayer. And most of the time when I would use these was when I needed to beef the kit up a little bit, maybe on the more mid-tempo or slower, which is like a ballad for these guys is like 190. But these are a little bit thicker sounding. So again, no rooms. With the ribbons. Not quite as wide and bombastic, a little bit tighter and a little bit thicker. And again, maybe it was the thrash parts where I might pull those things up just to have a little bit of depth in the sound, but also had a little bit of thickness. Maybe around the drum fills, I'd pull the other ones wide. And maybe a lot of the times they both got shut off. Most of how I used those rooms were dependent on tempo sometimes and also what was going on with the guitars. Because too much of the room in there would start to eat into the guitars and the way Michael wanted those to sound. So it was really just kind of on a case-by-case or a part-by-part basis. And that's a taste of the drum sound. Go check out the new single, Celestial Tomb from Necronomicon Ex Mortis. I think you fans of death metal and melodic death metal are really gonna dig these guys because they're all fantastic players. Looking forward to this EP coming out and to doing some more songs with these guys. So I'm gonna let Joey play us out because this whole piece that he recorded is cool. Thanks for joining me for this video. We'll see you in the next one and enjoy some crazy Joey.